York's very own muscle building coaches, Anthony Bevilacqua and Pete Kacharian, proudly present to you New York Muscle Radio.
What's up, guys? New York Muscle Radio, episode number 179. The New York Muscle Radio Celebrity Physique Series, Zac Efron in Baywatch. This is the body we're going to go after today, so welcome to this New York Muscle Radio Celebrity Physique Series. And in this episode, we're going to give you the secrets on how to get a physique like Zac Efron. It's your host, Anthony Bevilacqua, alongside my co-host, Big Pete Kacharian. And today we got a jam-packed episode on the brink of this Baywatch movie that came out. But before we get started and before I introduce my co-host here, I just want to play a little clip from Zac Efron talking about his training regimen that he used for Baywatch. So let's listen in here.
In the 90s, the hit show Baywatch brought beautiful beaches, lifeguards, and of course slow-mo running to the masses. And now, more than 2 decades later, the highly anticipated Baywatch movie is hitting the big screen. Zac Efron, good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, more on why you're in the morgue in a minute. Yeah. Because this is Baywatch. And you're not going to disappoint us, right? Like, there's a lot of beach outfits, bikinis, swim trunks, slow-mo running. The whole Are we going to get a whole thing?
You're going to get an overload of beach.
Okay,
it's insane.
Now, we read this night, this cannot be true, but they said that you went into extra turbo workout mode so that you could get ready for this film. I mean, how much more is there to do?
I know. Well, look, he's got to start with The Rock, where you're like, I got to keep up with the Joneses.
Yeah, well, going up against The Rock is like, I mean, it's impossible. Like,
Yeah.
He's an animal, so...
His name is The Rock.
Yeah, his name is The Rock.
Yeah.
He is a rock. Like, he's actually literally, that, we're carrying refrigerators. That's just how he gets his food home. Sure. Mine's like a fake refrigerator, I'm pretty sure. It's still really heavy. Yeah, no, it was really fun right here. Like, just doing pull-ups next to him was pretty badass.
I know.
I mean, awesome.
Yeah. Don't worry, we'll fix it in post. This
Okay,
isn't
it was
live.
great.
Yeah, it was super duper. Well, tell me a little bit. I know we want to talk about the movie, but we are obsessed with the training regimen because I heard there was like this protein drink that was. Do you remember it? It was like it had egg in it, and it was kind of.
Did you drink something funky, or did
we drank a ton of funny stuff. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'm sure you did.
But it was like, I mean, we would do like the classic Arnold pump up on the beach, just shamelessly, just like with paparazzi and everybody around. Like, you're coming right out of your trailer and have to look like
that.
An Olympic athlete.
All right, well, that was Zac Efron talking about how he got in shape for the movie and what he did, his mystery shake that he didn't really reveal there. He had no idea what they were talking about in that scene, big guy. Pig P, what's up, man? What do you think about his mystery shake? Was that given to him by the Hollywood doctor?
You know, that was the one thing that stuck out to me right away as well when they talked about the shake, because he kind of dodged that question because somebody...
Yeah, he danced around it like you do.
Yeah, so I could spot it because I would probably do the same thing if I didn't know what the shake was, which clearly he had no idea what the shake was. But that's how, you know, the media always likes, especially when it comes to getting in shape, they always like to find out what the magic pill is. And in this case, yeah, he was drinking some type of magical shake or his overdrive workouts or whatever it is. But, you know, clearly, I mean, even him just not going into detail kind of shows that there's nothing magical or, you know, too outside the box about what he did to get in shape, you know. So, you know, there'll always be something like that is the magic pill, you know, like what was his name? Wolverine, when he said that he used intermittent fasting to get in shape. You know, there's always something, but, you know, as we always talk about on this podcast, there's no magic bullet. You know, it's all about the process and, you know, calories in versus calories out, progressive overload, you know, all that stuff, consistency over time.
Yeah, I guess we should kind of cover this now before we get started here. But obviously, this kid's doesn't have a ton of muscle, and clearly he's not natural either. He's just got a really grainy, too ripped of a look to his physique to actually be natural. Someone really natural never looks that hard. They always have a little bit of softness to them. Always like a little bit more water under the physique. He's too dry. I mean, at least in these pictures anyway. And you could see, the one thing with him is you could really tell in his face.
Yeah.
His face is just like changes and gets very gaunt and very like my face gets sunken in too when I diet, but his face doesn't get sunken in. It just looks grainy. It's weird.
Yeah, well, he's progressively in all his movies, he's gotten leaner and, you know, slightly more muscular. He's never gotten to the point where he had a lot of muscle, but he's put muscle on. But progressively, each movie he's done, he's gotten leaner and leaner and leaner to the point now where he's shredded. Like, you can't really get leaner than that. That's about as lean as you'll get where you'll still survive. And yeah, when that happens, generally, especially if you're natural, the leaner you get like that, yeah, you're going to get flatter. Your muscles are not going to be hard, at least not consistently. Like, you could peak for a bodybuilding show for one day and look like that. You know what I mean? But he's looking like this, taking photo shoots, you know, throughout the whole movie as well. And, you know, that's a decent period of time right there. So, yeah, I mean, his overall look comes from his level of body fat, which is just extremely, extremely low. It's not his muscle. A lot of people look at him and say, wow, he must be lifting a lot of weights and doing all types of workouts and stuff. You know, the fact of the matter is that look is completely achieved just based on conditioning. You know, that's just dieting.
Yeah, 100%. He doesn't have really any standout body parts. He's just extremely, extremely lean to the point where he's almost like looks like he was carved out of stone. He has like that trophy look to him. And he just has a genetically gifted abdominal wall that kind of gives that illusion of like the perfect boxes. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if they airbrushed that a little bit more than what it was just to make him stand out a little bit more. But, you know, for me, like my stomach, and you have kind of that look too, but you have like top thick foreabs. He has like the whole thing. I have like crooked abs. My abs are crooked. I have like one stacked on top of the other. So everybody, it's just a little different in how everyone's abdominal wall is shaped. And he just has perfectly boxed stomach. So, like I said, the leaner you get, the more that's going to pop out. It's the first thing that your eyes are going to see is going to be that. So I think that's why people think he's a lot bigger than what he is, because that's all you see is abdominal wall. Like, his waist isn't that so small. So I have his stats here. So, so I have his body fat here is he's 5'9". First of all, he's 160 to 170 pounds, which is about right for his height. And body fat, we would estimate around 5%. His arms are around 15 to 16 inches, so they're not really that big. And his waist is anywhere between 30 and 32. I found like conflicting results there, so I wasn't sure which one to go with. But I kind of would go with the 32-inch because he doesn't have a small waist. If you Google pictures of him, if you guys listening to this, Google a picture of him from Baywatch, his waist isn't dramatically small. Like, he doesn't have a V. He's just really lean. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah, you know what it is, too? People don't realize that proportions and symmetry play so much of a role, and that can make you look so much bigger, so much muscular, even so much leaner, and he has that all genetically, which is why he looks, especially on screen, he looks great for that role. You know what I mean? He looks like a big, muscular, lean guy, but in reality, if you put him...
I don't think he looks big.
On a screen, I'm saying. Like, if you look at him by himself, but now if you take him in real life and you put him next to the average person in a pair of, like, you know, a suit or, you know, a hoodie or something, he'll look like the average person. You wouldn't even look at him twice. Yeah. You know what I mean? But now you take the camera and you put it at the correct angles with somebody who has really good abs. They're lean. Their body structure is great. You know what I mean? He really doesn't have too much flaws in his body structure. It's not like he has a blocky waist, small shoulders, or anything like that. Yeah. You don't need to get him at the perfect angle or anything. So you take that and you put it on camera with, you know, the right lighting, possibly airbrushing, like you said. I wouldn't be surprised if they were doing that as well. He's going to appear way more muscular and way leaner than he actually is. I mean, he's lean, but he looks, like you said, like he's carved out of stone.
Yeah, to me, one of the other things that really stands out with him, too, is he doesn't really have any kind of standout body parts. Like, nothing's bigger than everything else. He kind of reminds me of, like, a swimmer. Yeah. Like, he kind of has, like, a swimmer's body, but just, like, a little more muscular and a lot leaner.
Yeah. So, basically, he's got a swimmer's look, but, like, a little bit more exaggerated for the movie.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's a good way to put it.
That would make sense. I don't think they'd want him looking like a bodybuilder playing Baywatch. You know what I mean? It wouldn't fit the role.
The Rock in there, too.
Yeah. Well, The Rock is just, you know, he's like the... they're throwing him in there for the entertainment. Well, they're both for entertainment purposes, but it's like you put The Rock in with Zac Efron and make it, you know, funny.
Yeah. You guys can actually... We did a whole physique series on The Rock. If you head on over to NewYorkMuscleRadio.com/The Rock, you could pick up the program that we put together for The Rock on there, so you guys can look like The Rock. Or if you're interested in looking like Zac Efron, you guys can head on over to NewYorkMuscleRadio.com/Zac Efron and get the program that we're putting together here on this podcast, and you can look like Zac Efron. We'll give you all the blueprint here to look like the best celebrities and the best celebrity physiques. But yeah, one of the other things like we talked about too, that Hollywood doctor definitely gives him that little edge there on being leaner than the average person.
Yeah, and see, the funny thing about that is his physique, realistically, with his weight, with his body fat percentage, realistically, that's something that you can achieve naturally. The thing, and I always say this too, the thing is with these guys in Hollywood, these are not, the reason that most of these guys are using some type of supplements are, these guys, a lot of them don't like to work out, first of all. The other reason
blows my mind too, because there was other interviews of Zac Efron that we didn't play, and they're like talking to him about it, and he's like, ew, I worked out. Yeah. Like, he was like disgusted with it. Like, right. Oh, don't talk to my body. Like, what?
A lot of them don't like to work out. So first of all, to get in that kind of shape, you have to put in a lot of work, and you have to enjoy it. You know what I mean? I mean, you don't have to enjoy it, but you have to enjoy it enough to do it for a long enough period of time to reach those results. And the other thing is, these guys are getting in shape for the role very fast, right before the movie. Then afterwards, they're going back to what they look like normally. Zac Efron never gets fat, never gets out of shape. But if you see what he looks like, not in a role for a movie, just, whatever, how he's day-to-day life, he might be, if he's 160 shredded for the movie, he might be 160 or 170 not shredded. You know what I mean? He'll lose a little bit of muscle, put on a little bit of body fat, and he'll also look like the average guy. So
I think that a good like example to that is, did you ever see the movie Neighbors?
Yeah.
I kind of feel like that he's a little harder for that movie.
No, that's what I'm saying. Progressively over his career, he's gotten, he's put more muscle on. Like maybe some of his earlier films, if you go back and take a look at him, he didn't have as much muscle. He wasn't as lean, but he's gotten progressively leaner for that.
Yeah, I would say if he stopped, he would probably look like Neighbors. I would say that would probably be his best.
Yeah, and so you combine those two things. They don't really like working out. Plus, they get in shape for a movie. The second the movie's over, they pretty much stop. They don't even go to the gym anymore. It's not like, they back off a little with their diet. It's just they completely stop. Movie's over. So when you're going back and forth like that, it's very hard to go in and out of shape like that. So a lot of times these people do use some type of performance enhancement. Maybe not a lot of it or whatever it is. But a lot of it is actually used as a crutch to just get in shape for the movie and then, go back to doing whatever they're doing afterwards. So it's not uncommon, what these guys are doing. And, you combine that, like I said, like you mentioned with the airbrushing and stuff like that, it's very easy to take somebody who looks average and then make them look, really good for a movie in a very short period of time.
Yeah. I mean, definitely, I agree with that 100%. So, guys, you just got to keep that in mind when going about this. But the goal, obviously, if you want to look like Zac Efron, is to get to around 5% body fat, which is pretty much stage lean. So, yeah, that's pretty much where you want to be his level of leanness. And you want to be losing roughly 0.5 to 1 pound of fat per week. And I would say a starting requirement would be 10 to 12% body fat minimum. You would need to be there. Anything higher than that, it's just going to be too high to do this. I would say the duration of this program would be anywhere between 16 and 24 weeks, again, depending on your current body fat levels. But I think that's a good start because, there's a huge difference between going from 12% body fat to 10% body fat. There's a world of a difference going between 10 and 8, and it feels like a whole other universe going from 8 to 6.
Yeah, see, the thing people don't realize about that is, when you're 12% body fat, let's just say you're 180 pounds of 12% body fat. If you drop 5 pounds, you'll see it in your physique a little bit. You know what I mean? You'll see a little water weight drop. You might look a little leaner, but 5 pounds, you didn't really see too much of a change. Now, when you're going from 8% body fat to 5%, if you drop even a pound or 2 pounds, your physique is going to look completely different because it's it's a bigger percentage of body fat lost when you get leaner because now you go from 8 to 7. It's a big difference. You know what I mean? Whereas when you're at like 12, 13% and you lose 5 pounds, that percentage isn't going to change as much. So when you get that lean, that's really where every little bit counts. So, going from 12% to 8%, it's pretty easy for most people. But then when you get down to the 8% and under, that's where everything has to be in check.
Yeah, that's why this program is so long. If you had to get from let's say 12 to 8% to be at the body fat goal to be at this person, whatever. Let's just say that was it. This program could be 8 weeks.
Yeah,
that's totally achievable. But something like this, when you're bringing your body down to single-digit body fat, it's going to take a longer time. Your body's going to fight you to get down there too. Your body doesn't want to be that lean, and it's very, very hard to maintain it. So what I would recommend is picking up a copy of Cracking the Flexible Dieting Code if you really want to get the Zac Efron body and learning how to maximize your metabolism post doing this, because that's going to be the most important thing. Once you get to the 5% body fat and you look like Zac Efron, you're going to have to increase your calories back up. You're not going to be able to maintain a lower calorie level like that forever. So you're going to have to be able to maximize your metabolism, which we talk about in the bonus feature of Cracking the Flexible Dieting Code, in order to maintain the gains and maintain that leanness.
Yeah, and
I think you could probably, realistically, you could probably maintain like 7 to 8% body fat year round, depending on your genetic limits and stuff.
Yeah, you know what it is? 8% is so much more healthy for your body to maintain than something like 5 or 6 even, and you feel so much better. I'd say even 10%. People don't realize how lean 10% actually is. A true 10% body fat, but yeah, 5% is almost impossible, and it's not healthy. You're not going to feel good. But the one thing that you mentioned that's really important too is you really can't take someone and diet them down from 25% body fat all the way down to 5 in one
diet cycle.
Period of time. Yeah,
no way.
Your body is, like you said, is going to fight back so hard that you're going to be pulling calories so hard for so long that eventually the only way to get there is a diet break, a slow reverse diet, get those calories back up, and then repeat the process. Sometimes we even have to do this with clients for contest prep that might come to us at 20% body fat, let's say. And, the process might take longer than, just going from A to Z, because you can't do it like that. We have to get them down maybe to like 10% body fat, keep them there for a while, give them food again so that their metabolism revs back up, they get out of the dieting mode, and then get them down from 10 to 5. It's almost impossible to take somebody from 12 all the way to 5, like you said, in one diet session.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't agree more, man. So that's the goal for this program. If you want to look like Zac Efron, you got to get you around 5% body fat. You gotta grow your hair out like he has. He has good hair, that kid.
Yeah, well, he's got it all for the beach, man.
Yeah, but you gotta remember too, one of the things, we always look up to celebrities, just everyone in general looks at celebrities. And their body and their image is their job.
Right.
So if my job was my hair, I did win best hair in high school, man. But I'm just saying, like, if my job was my hair, I can get that Baywatch looking hair like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, it'd have to be a priority of yours to grow that hair out. And by the way, if you want to see some good hair, man, you guys should pick up a copy of the Quick and Easy Meals on NewYorkMuscleRadio.com. It's a special edition. It's kind of like a throwback edition. So if you guys want to check out some good hair,
why don't you explain it then, man?
So yeah, we added a new collection to the New York Muscle Radio library, because we had a few clients and just people contacting us, asking us about like recipes and good bodybuilding and fitness foods and stuff like that. So we realized that Anthony had actually a ebook put together that we hadn't put on the site for sale, and it's just all quick and easy bodybuilding and fitness meals that you guys can make. So it's on the website. It's very, very cheap. It's only $5. You guys can pick that up now, ebook format, and you could start making your cool muscle meals. But there's an awesome picture of Anthony on the cover where he's got his was that right around the time where you won best hair?
No, it's not, but I had hair there.
Yeah, I know. I was looking at it.
Holy shit, I forgot all about that. But my hair wasn't even done for the picture, really.
I was admiring. I'm like, I've never seen him with like hair like that.
Oh, that's why you were laughing at me when you said the pic. I thought you were laughing at me because I was small.
No, I wasn't. Well, so the picture, you guys got to go check it out. But Anthony, he's doing a typical meathead chef pose where he's a bodybuilder with the apron on, but no shirt underneath the apron, and then he's got his hair. He's got his long hair. I never saw him with the long hair, but I was like, this is a great picture, man. You don't look small in it. You look like a typical like bodybuilder in an apron type picture. You know what I mean?
That's good to hear, actually. That was my first bodybuilding contest. I had no idea what I was doing. I probably lost so much muscle there. But
you actually looked pretty good, man. How old were you there? So then you must have been young. 20?
Yeah, I was young. Yeah, 20. So yeah, that was the. That was funny. I didn't know you were making fun of my hair.
What did you think I was laughing at?
I thought you were laughing at my body. I didn't think you were making fun of my hair.
You weren't that small or anything. I was just like, this is a great picture because his hair, he's young. This is a great picture. The real Italian player came out.
All right. Anyway, back to Zac Efron. But anyway, my point is that all celebrities, this is what they do for a living. So again, like we said, if your priority became your body, that would become the most important thing for you, and you would get the physique that you want. So like they tell them, all right, Zach, you're playing Matt Brody in Baywatch. you have to be really, really lean and look really, really good for this movie. So, of course, he's going to do everything in his power to get there. He's going to diet. He's going to go through all that. You need to have that motivation, that fire in your belly in order to do anything. So if you want to look like Zac Efron, this is the kind of thing you have to be doing. You have to make it priority. So obviously we recommend counting macros and, to help losing body fat, because flexible dieting is the best way to go about a long-term sustainable fat loss, looking good, blah, blah, blah. So you got to make sure you pick up cracking the flexible dieting code, as that is the key to helping you flexible diet if you don't know how to do that already. But obviously for this diet, you have to be in a caloric deficit. I mean, because you have to be able to lose body fat. So you're going to be eating less calories. So this is not going to be a bulk up program because, like we said, Zac Efron doesn't have a ton of muscle. He's very lean, though. So this is where the main thing with this is going to be diet. And, man, not for nothing, but there's something just that kind of brings back a good feeling, when you're just like in full man mode, when you're just like, I'm going to put muscle on and just eat. I remember those days. Yeah. For me, growing up as a kid, I was always trying to gain weight. So I feel like I always had those times where I would just eat and grow. Like, it was nice. Like the thought of dieting to me is like, I don't want to diet. There's something just like primitive about being a man and just like eating, and bulking up and putting on muscle.
Yeah, I agree 100%, man. I hate dieting phases. I hate it. I like being lean. I'm not going to lie about that. I love when I'm lean.
Yeah, I definitely do.
But dieting is like, it goes, it's true. It goes, well, first of all, it does go totally against your nature because your body doesn't want to be in a caloric deficit. You know what I mean? Your instincts are fighting you the whole way. And that's why dieting is always so hard for most people, is because they're dealing with biological, signals telling you, listen, eat food. You know what I mean? And most people just seek comfort. And, that's why it gets hard. And, going back a little bit to what you're saying about motivation, and he's going to get in shape for the movie and everything like that. People got to look at it like this, your body's going to tell you, listen, I'm hungry, eat food. I don't want to do cardio. I'm tired, whatever. But it's the same thing as anything else in life. You guys choose what you do, what you don't do, and you guys choose what you're going to work for. People don't second guess, okay, I have to get up at 7 o'clock every day to get to work because you're going to get paid. You know what I mean? There's no rationale. Oh, I'm tired, this, that. Like, you guys do it, but then you ration, getting up to go do cardio or going to the gym when you're tired. You know what I mean? When you don't have that option, you get the work done. So, it all comes down to giving yourself that option, giving yourself that excuse. And if you want to get in shape and you want to lose body fat, you're going to have to go through that period of time where you're in a deficit, where you're uncomfortable, where your body's fighting you. But you got to just make the decision that, listen, call the body your paycheck, whatever it is. If you go to work because you're getting that paycheck, you're going to go to work, So if you want that body, that paycheck, got to go to work in the kitchen, got to go to work in the gym.
Yeah, man. I mean, well put there, big guy. All right, let's break down into these macros. So in order to get this Zac Efron body, you want to start out with your calories we're going to start you off with body weight times 12. That's a good starting calorie measurement. And I'd say it's a perfect place to start. You could probably start a little higher, maybe a little lower, depending on the person. But that's like the average where we would recommend starting. It's a good base to start off first.
Yeah, generally the more muscle you have, the higher you're going to want to start with that. I wouldn't want to put somebody who's 200 pounds, at 12% body fat on, body weight times 12 right off, right out of the gate. But, considering what we're going after with this physique and where you should probably be starting at, that's perfect. You probably, if you're going for the Zac Efron physique, you're not walking around 200 pounds, at 12% body fat. So if you have, if you have an average
squat on my bench will go right in the toilet.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to do that. And it's honestly, the body's going to stall out a lot faster that way too. So you may as well start higher. But for the average person who's probably looking for this physique, 12 body weight times 12 is good.
Do you want to get the results you've always dreamed of? Do you want coaches that genuinely care, are professional, and get back to you in a timely manner? Do you want to be stronger, healthier, and look better naked? Then let me tell you, New York Muscle Radio is definitely your answer. Since working with them, I can hardly believe the results.
They coached me through a post-contest reverse diet and all the way through to an off-season strength program.
These two fitness geniuses have pushed me outside of my comfort zone, and in the process, I have been able to make big jumps on all of my major lifts.
In 14 weeks, I added 100 pounds to my powerlifting total and smashed my first meet.
Since working with them, I've added 55 pounds to my squat, 50 pounds to my deadlift, and 20 pounds to my bench press.
And in 12 weeks, I dropped over 10 pounds of body fat and added over 20 pounds to all my lifts.
I have never had as amazing of glutes as I have training with them. So I can say, no matter what your goals are, you're guaranteed to be stronger, healthier, and let's face it, better looking if Pete and Anthony are your coaches.
So if you are tuning in to listen and learn from the huge array of knowledge these two have, or if you want to hire them as your coaches, you will not be disappointed.
New York Muscle Radio is the best in the business.
You heard it from our New York Muscle Radio clients. Do you want to join our team and reach your fitness goals? Visit NewYorkMuscleRadio.com for all our coaching programs.
But I'll tell you what, when I'm done, my biceps are humongous. Humongous. Like that, bang!
My name is Anthony Bevilacqua, and I'm the host of New York Muscle Radio podcast. My arms have been a weak point for years. When I started training, my arms measured 11 inches. Even after many years of hardcore training, nothing would get them to grow. With the help of my co-host, Big Pete, we set out on a mission to gain 1 solid inch to my arms in 12 weeks.
In the greatest experiment of all.
12 weeks later, this program finally helped me get 18-inch arms. The 12-week Arm Experiment, the ultimate arm growth program, ebook, the audio book, and the workout video. Pick up your copy now on NewYorkMuscleRadio.com.
Hey, great coffee.
Doesn't it taste good as Fresh Perk?
Better.
Better than those girls make at the office?
Honey, their coffee can't hold a candle to yours.
Caffeine, the world's only instant coffee that's fortified with muscle-building protein. Visit buyproteincoffee.com now.
Damn.
Nice, Pete.
What?
I saw you checking out that girl's butt.
What? I was just checking out her yoga pants.
Pete.
I was thinking you'd look really good in yoga pants.
Uh-huh.
I was like trying to check out what brand it was. Like I was looking at her form on deadlifts. They were all messed up.
Do you think she has a nicer butt than me?
Well, it definitely doesn't look like a pancake.
Did you just call my butt a pancake?
Well, I mean...
What can I do?
You gotta try New York Muscle Radio's Glutylicious program.
Glutylicious?
Yeah, you'll finally get a celebrity booty, like all the other girls following the program.
Fine, I'll do it. But don't get jealous when other guys check out my glutylicious ass.
Glutylicious, your guide to getting a celebrity booty in 12 weeks. Now available exclusively at NewYorkMuscleRadio.com.
What's up, New York Muscle Radio listeners? It's your co-host, Big Pete Kacharian, and I'm glad you're all listening. Put down the tilapia and asparagus. Learn how to get bigger, stronger, and leaner eating what you want. Pick up a copy of Cracking the Flexible Dieting Code exclusively at NewYorkMuscleRadio.com. But for now, let's get to the show.
So yeah, with protein, we're going to start off with protein here. So protein is going to be 40% of your calories. So the calories you figure out. So you take your body weight, you times it by 12. 40% of that, those calories are going to come from protein. What you'll do then, that's how many calories you're getting a day from protein. You'll divide that by 4, and that'll give you how many grams of protein you need per day on this plan in order to look like Zac Efron. All right, now carbs. So carbs are going to come from 30% of that number. So again, same thing. Body weight times 12, 30, divide by 4. That's going to give you the carb amount. That's how many grams of carbs you need in a day. Now we're going to move on to fat. Fat is also going to be at 30%. This is a good starting point for this diet. Same thing, calories times 30. That'll give you how many calories of fat in a day. Then you divide that by 9 because there's 9 calories per gram, and that's going to give you how many grams you need. Those are good starting macros, again, with a daily fiber goal of 30 to 40 grams.
Yep, and then, that's going to differ for everybody as far as how far that's going to take you along the journey. Eventually, you're going to have to either cut calories, add cardio, drop cardio, but that's a good starting point for everybody to just get adjusted into a cutting phase if this is your goal. And then you have to assess what kind of progress you're making along the way. Calories have to be adjusted if you stall. But for some people, you could set them up with those calories, and it might take you all the way there. It just depends on everybody.
Yeah, everybody's different. I mean, we've given so many plans to people, and some people, the plans are identical from the start to the finish, and then other people, the start one looks totally different than the last one. So everyone's different as far as their body responds, but definitely these are the good starting points. We're also going to throw in a refeed day in there once per week, where you're going to basically increase your calories by 400. And then you're going to get a new macro breakdown with the proteins at 20%, your carbs are at 50%, and your fats at 30%. Guys, if you're driving or swimming or whatever you're doing right now, working out, don't worry about writing all this down. You can head on over to NewYorkMuscleRadio.com/Zach Efron, and you'll get the free program there. Everything that I'm talking about here is going to be on there, so don't worry about writing this all down. All right, let's move on to cardio. Oh, do you have anything you want to say about refeed days? Remember, we should talk about why they're important.
Yeah. Well, you know what it is? I mean, refeed days, we always talk about their importance. It's going to keep your metabolism up while you're dieting. It's going to boost those hormones that are going to get lowered from being in a dieting phase. But it's so crazy how there's more and more research coming out lately. I'm not too up with the studies, and I don't pay attention to a lot of stuff, but I have been seeing a lot more stuff coming out about metabolic adaptations and what happens when you go on a dieting phase. And it's just, the evidence coming out now is just reinforcing everything we've been doing for years. And it's crazy to see how much your body actually adjusts to a diet, even in like 2 or 3 weeks to a month in a dieting phase, as far as how much calories it actually expends because you cut them. So initially your body's going to try to fight back. Okay, if you're burning 2,000 calories a day, eating at baseline at maintenance, and then you cut your calories down, your body might only burn 1,500. It'll just cut it just like that, just to adjust for the amount coming in, because your body doesn't want to lose weight. So having those refeed days in there is where you get to feed your body again. Your body says, okay, more calories are coming back in. We don't need to slow down our metabolic rate. So they're so super important. They're more important the leaner you get, the longer you're dieting, and the more muscle you have on you. So, you take somebody who's pretty overweight, they're probably not going to be as important in the beginning, but then deeper into the diet, they're going to become more important. You take somebody who has more muscle on them, right out the gate, you're going to want to probably even do 2 refeed days, especially if they're already eating a lot of calories. But it depends person to person. So in this case, I think once a week is going to be fine, and just keep that in there throughout the duration of the diet, just to keep that day in there where your body says, okay, we're not dieting, we're not starving, we don't have to adjust too hard. But if you don't do refeed days, guys, I'm still recovering from the illness, so I'm having trouble breathing. So
wait, has your illness affected your mental state, man? You've been in a real funk.
I don't think there's a correlation between the two. I don't think they're related. But who knows? But yeah, you guys keep that in there throughout the duration of the diet. You'll be pretty good. Just 1 day a week is fine. Like I said, 2 times a week is generally for people with more muscle or dieting for a longer period of time, like a full contest prep. You probably want to throw it in there twice. But then again, it depends. Sometimes we have people only diet with once a week.
Yeah, every person's so different, so it's hard to give a general form. But again, if we wanted to look like Zac Efron, this is probably the formula that we would use as well. So that's how we're basing this off of. So now moving on, cardio. Cardio is going to be a vital portion of this program. So obviously Zac is very, very lean, and he's pretty muscular for being that lean. He's not not marathon. He's not marathon runner lean. He's not stick skinny. He's very, very lean. He does have muscle. So our rationale behind the cardio protocol we give you here is HIIT cardio. High intensity interval cardio is very, very important for retaining lean muscle mass when dieting down. And I always compare high intensity interval cardio to football players. Football players are very muscular and very lean at the same time. Whereas versus a marathon runner who does a lot of low intensity, their bodies are very stringy. So we want to get that high intensity cardio look. So we're recommending 4 HIIT sessions a week with 15 intervals. We would recommend using the battle ropes to do this, or the rower, because his body is more upper body. This whole protocol is going to be more upper body sensitive. So you want to be able to do high intensity, with the upper body. Even like using a sledgehammer and hitting the tire, that would work as well. You could do kettlebell swings, stuff like that. But 4 times a week at 15 intervals. Do you want to explain what an interval is?
Yeah, so basically with HIIT cardio, you're gonna one interval is gonna be a space of time where you do an all-out high-intensity session and then break up the other half or whatever percentage it is with a low intensity. So if you're doing true HIIT cardio, the general interval that we use and that most people do is you take a 1-minute interval time, and then 15 seconds of it is where you're going all out at the high intensity. And the reason it's 15 seconds is it's not an arbitrary number. If you're doing true HIIT cardio, going 100%, you could only sustain 100% for somewhere between 10 and 15 seconds. If you go more than 15 seconds at the same pace, you're not going 100%. It's just not possible. So if you were to take a sprinter and have him run the fastest he can, if you watch after 15 seconds ago, he's going to significantly slow down. So he's not going at 100% anymore. That's when the high intensity interval ends, and the rest of the interval is going to be low intensity for a recovery pace. So the very general protocol is 15 seconds as hard as you can, 45 seconds at a light recovery pace. This is just so that you can rest to do the next 15 seconds as hard as possible. That's all that 45 seconds is for. So if you're doing 10 intervals, it's 15 seconds, 45 seconds, that's one interval, and repeat it till you get to 10.
Yeah. So we're recommending, again, like we said, he's not overly muscular for this, so 4 times a week is perfect because we're basing this on the routine that we put together. So let's move on to the routine, man, the meat and potatoes of this. So based on Zach's physique, again, like we said, he has no overpowering body parts and does not have a lot of muscle. He does have some, but not a lot. His physique shape is, like we said, is similar to that of a swimmer, just leaner, and he has no legs, and rightfully so, he doesn't really need them. The goal of this workout program is to maintain muscle and get shredded. So since the intervals of this program are so high, we're only recommending working out 3 days a week. That's all that's necessary for this program. Yeah. So day one is...
I just want to, before you go into it, I just want to add, so if you're doing 4 days of HIIT cardio a week, you really don't have a lot more room to put in a lot of weight training because 4 days a week of true HIIT cardio is extremely taxing. You know, if people look at it and they say, oh yeah, I'm doing 4 days of HIIT, if they're doing true 4 days of HIIT cardio, that alone is going to be a brutal training program by itself if done correctly. And I'm stressing this because it surprises me lately how many people do HIIT cardio or think they're doing HIIT cardio but aren't because they're not going at that 100% intensity that I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It's very, very taxing. I'm telling you, anything even 3 times a week HIIT cardio is pretty brutal. So 4 is like, that's where you know that's considered pushing it, but for his physique, we're going for ultimate conditioning here. It's probably going to take that, and that alone is going to be the most important part, along with the diet, to getting that physique.
Yeah, perfect. Well said, man. Well said. Every once in a while, you always surprise me with a well said answer.
Trying to keep up with you, man.
It's everybody else's too. All right, so day one. Again, we're going to do this. We're going to keep this very, very simple. Day 1 will be the workout. Day 2 will be an off day. Day 3 will be a workout. Day 4 will be an off day. Day 5 will be a workout. Day 6 and 7 will be off days. You could do the cardio on the off days. You could do them after your workout. It really doesn't matter when you do the cardio as long as you get it done. But the one thing that I want to stress here is you want to make sure you keep the cardio separate from the weight training because you want to apply as much force to each session as possible. So if you're going to do them in the same day, try to do either the cardio after the workout or come back later and do the cardio at the end. But always start with the workout as that's the most important thing. So day 1 is going to be a full body routine, and that's what we call the 15 day. So basically you're going to be doing 15 reps on everything. So first exercise is going to be the standing overhead barbell press. You're doing 3 sets of 15 there. It's a perfect way to start it out. Zac Efron does have good shoulders. They're kind of standout-ish. So that's why we kind of started the program off with that, as that is a good way to build that up. But again, guys, if you don't have a pen, you can't write this down, you can't remember this, head on over to NewYorkMuscleRadio.com/Zac Efron, and you get this program. All done for you, so just like that. You want to talk about anything with the overhead press or not?
Well, not much needs to be said. It's really a staple in there, and we're using exercises here that it's not really bodybuilding training. These are exercises that are just going to be compound movements that are going to add mass across the entire body. There's really, in this program, there's no need to really get into too much bodybuilding exercises. We just want to use exercises that are going to add as much muscle across the whole body, using the least amount of exercises needed. Because again, we're not trying to turn you into a bodybuilder. We're trying to add some muscle on you and cut down that body fat percentage to really lean. So like an overhead press, big compound movements, we're gonna use similar movements for the entire body.
Yeah, one of the other things too we should have mentioned too, the frequency of this program is high. You're hitting the whole body 3 times a week, so it's if you're worried about losing muscle doing this, you're probably not. If you diet correctly and just train with intensity, you're not going to lose any muscle because the frequency will be high and your overall volume will be high too. So it's a good way. You might even put on a little bit of muscle. We might have overshot this a little bit, big guy, now that I'm thinking about it. But so moving on now, we got pull-ups. You're going to do 30 total reps. So however many sets it takes you to get 30 total reps of pull-ups. Pull-ups can be a hard exercise for some people. So if you can do sets of 15, then you're done in 2 sets. If you could do sets of 5, it may take you a little bit, but as long as you do 30 total reps, that's the goal for the pull-up area.
Yeah, and guys, if you could only do 1 rep, that means you're doing 30 sets. I've done that before. There was a time when I had to do that.
One of the things that I would recommend too for pull-ups, any back movement too on this program, using something like the strong grips would be really cool too, to take the grip out of the equation. You don't need big forearms for this program at all. So if you use that, just use them for every exercise pretty much. You'll be good to go. That'll take the grip out of the equation, and you just be focusing on lifting and putting as much force as you need into the area that you're trying to do. So for the pull-ups, you would get nothing in your forearm and all in the back.
Yeah, I rarely ever don't use straps or wraps or anything like that for pulling movements.
There's no point.
The stronger you get, the more you're going to have to rely on it, because it gets to be a point where your grip is just not going to keep up with the amount of weight your back can move. There's always going to be a discrepancy in there. If anybody tells you that, you're ego lifting because you're using more weight with the wraps, with the straps, you're using your ego more by trying to use just your own grip. You know what I mean? Just use the targeted muscle you're trying to train, and if you have to use your grips to hold on to that weight, then use it, because you're training your back. You're not training your grip. It's a pull up. Same thing with rows or any pulling movement. So use them.
Yeah. Moving on now. Right after pull ups, we're going to do some bodyweight dips, 30 total reps. Same idea applies here. If you could do 30 sets, you're done in 1 set. If you could do 1 rep, you're doing 30 sets of 1. So that's basically where that comes to. And that should cover pretty much the whole upper body as far as that goes. You can also do some barbell curls. You're going to do 3 sets of 15 there as well. Moving on to some walking lunges. You'll do 3 sets of 15 in each leg. So you're basically doing 30 steps. Walking lunges are great. Again, we said we don't need any legs in this program, but we want to keep the legs in there to maintain some muscle in there, as that is important as well.
Yeah, moving on. The more muscle you have on your body in general, the more fat you're going to burn. So you always want to have as much muscle as you can on your body, especially when dieting. You don't want to lose muscle anywhere. That's silly. You know what I mean? Even if you don't care about the muscle for appearance, if you keep muscle on your body while you're losing fat, it's going to make the fat burning process easier in general. So you don't want to just neglect muscles that are going to atrophy while you're dieting. That's just stupid.
Yeah, agreed. Then from there, we also added in there planks. Planks are a great exercise for the abdominal core. Zach does have really defined abdominal walls, so I wouldn't recommend doing thousands and thousands of crunches, but it's good to keep some stuff in there. So we're recommending planks, 3 sets of 1-minute planks. That's an overall great build-out. I even do planks. Planks are really important to do because they're good for just overall, the core stability, They're just overall good for your lower back and your abs. It's probably one of the best exercises you can do. So yeah, so we threw those in there at the end.
Yeah, and I'd say for core movements and ab exercises, they're really very important if you're not doing those big compound movements, which we have you doing, but at the same time, we're not lifting extremely heavy loads. So it's not like most people are not going to be using this program. They're not going to be doing like 225-pound overhead presses or anything like that, or doing weighted pull-ups with 100 pounds or anything like that. So you're probably not getting as much core activation as some of the stronger guys. So when you're lifting all that weight, a lot of times these little core and ab exercises are not as important. But in this type of program with this setting, you are hitting your upper body, your lower body with big compound movements. So you are getting core activation. But like I said, the loads aren't crazy high. So doing some extra ab work here is actually probably going to be a little more important.
Yeah, agreed. All right, so now, from this point now, the first workout is done. You could either, do cardio now, or you could wait till tomorrow, since we're giving you an off day tomorrow, so we just the whole body and do your cardio tomorrow. Either way would work for you. So now moving on to day 3. So day 3 is another full body day. It's the 12 day. So you're basically going to be doing 3 sets of 12 on everything here. So the first movement of the day is the barbell bench press.
Yeah, so this day is going to be very similar in terms of compound movements across the entire body. The first day of the week, if you noticed, we're doing more the vertical pushing and pulling movements. So you have your vertical press, your overhead press, and then your pull-ups. Those are all vertical movements. Today's going to be more focused on the horizontal. So starting out with a bench press is a horizontal pressing movement. And, this is, again, same idea as the first day of the week. The rep range is going to go down a little bit because we're periodizing the rep ranges, and we're still going to work the entire upper body, but just in a little bit of a different motion. So there's not, even though you're hitting the same muscle groups, the motions and the movement patterns are not overlapping from what we did on Monday.
Yeah, they're totally different. Exactly. So you're doing 3 sets of 12 on the barbell bench press. Then we're going to shift right over to the barbell row, 3 sets of 12 there. So, and I like that for the next movement, we went with cable lateral raises. Those are great. They keep the tension on the side delt. And again, 3 sets of 12 there. Moving on right into tricep rope press downs, 3 sets of 12 there. Moving on to hammer curls, 3 sets of 12 there. And then we got push-ups. We're doing 30 total reps on the push-ups. Again, push-ups are a great movement for the type of physique that we're trying to get here. Again, we're not trying to get overly muscular, so that's a great way to maintain a lot of the muscle mass that we did build and have built over the years.
Yep, absolutely. And it's always good to be strong with your body weight, especially the leaner you get too. You want to have, good performance. It's going to help you do your cardio more too. Just everything works well together when you're leaner, and you have good strength for your body weight. So it all ties in together too.
Yeah. Then after that, we have you do some hyperextensions. Again, another way, we just want to keep that core nice and tight. So hyperextension is a great way to work out the lower back, and it's just a great overall healthy spine movement that you should be doing as well. So keep that in there, 3 sets of 12. Now we're moving on again to hanging leg raises. These are my favorite ab exercises. I do these and I do planks, but hanging leg raises are the best for overall core development. So you can either do the ones when you hang from the pull-up bar, or you could use those like whatever hook things that you can hang on to. You're going to be doing 3 sets of 12 there. And then you're going to be doing the ab wheel. That's another exercise that not many people have seen. But the ab wheel, if your gym doesn't have an ab wheel, you can buy one for like $4 somewhere on Amazon. If you don't have an ab wheel, you could literally make one, take a barbell, stick weights on either side, and just slide the barbell back and forth. Google the exercise, you'll see it. But again, 3 sets of 12 there. And those ab wheel, if done correctly, those are brutal. Those kill the core.
Yeah, it's a tough exercise. Again, these are exercises that a lot of people that are very, very strong can't do because they don't pay attention to these little muscles that are not getting hit.
When was the last time you did the ab roller?
I did it with you. It might have been like 2 years ago, actually. And it might have been, to be honest with you, I think it might have been the first time I ever actually used the ab roller. I was surprised because I did it without too much struggle. And I'm not extremely strong on a lot of my core exercises. I'm good. My abs, like you mentioned earlier, are very well developed. When I diet down, I do have big, thick ab muscles, especially the top 4. You don't really see my lower abs as much. But I have, as far as aesthetic purposes, when I diet down, it looks like, wow, this guy does abs all the time. Truth is, I haven't really done a real ab workout since like high school. I never really incorporated it in my routine since then because I never had to for visual purposes. But yeah, as far as having strong abs and being able to work those core exercise and movements, those little movements are actually pretty underrated. So, the ab will challenge you if you're not used to it.
Yeah, that thing always makes me sore, man. It doesn't matter when I do it. It kills my whole stomach. But it gets my stomach to that point. You know when you laugh and your stomach hurts?
Yeah.
Like, you move a little bit and you feel it? I actually like that feeling. Like that soreness in the stomach. That's always like a good feeling,
I guess. I don't know.
Has your core ever been that sore? Have you ever tried to train your core like that?
Yeah, like I said, though, years ago. Like, I've never done an ab day where it's made my entire core that sore. But I've told you this before, too. I've gotten some pretty sore abs doing a lot of, like, upper body compound movements. Like, if I'm not used to it, let's say I take like 2 weeks off from doing these movements or something, I go back to it. But if I do a heavy day of weighted pull-ups and then maybe some heavy pullovers, dumbbell pullovers, my abs are gonna be very sore the next day. My entire abs are gonna just be completely trashed and not even doing one direct ab movement. So, like I said, you'll get that work done from those big compound movements, but it's very different to do those little detailed ab exercises. A lot of times you'll have strength. you'll be able to do pull-ups. I could do pull-ups with an additional 90 or 100 pounds, no problem. I could do pullovers with a good, 120, 150 pounds, whatever it is. But then I go to do, body weight leg raises with an additional 10 pounds, and it's pretty challenging to me. So you don't want to neglect those movements too much.
Yeah, agreed, man. All right, moving on. So the fifth day, which would in this case be Friday, would be a full body day, which is what we considered a 10 day. So you're going to be doing 3 sets of 10 on every lift here. And I think this is probably the most brutal day of the week. You're going to be doing lat pull-downs, 3 sets of 10. And lat pull-downs are probably one of my favorite back exercises. If done correctly, they really will hit the lats. One of the key things here with lat pull-downs is don't be one of those guys that brings it down to like their head. Bring it all the way down, touch your chest. Let that bar hit your chest. And that will make a huge difference as far as the lat goes. So 3 sets of 10 there. We're going to have you do barbell clean and press. This is a movement that we really don't recommend that often. It is an Olympic movement, but 3 sets of 10 there, as again, trying to get the type of physique that Zac Efron has is one of those movements that will definitely help you. We're going right into chin-ups right after that, 30 reps total. And moving on, we're going to be doing dumbbell one-arm preacher curls for the biceps. Superset, no superset, just the dumbbell preacher curl, one arm, 3 sets of 10 there. Then we're going to be doing diamond push-ups, which are more that close grip type push-ups for the triceps. So you're going to superset that with bench dips. Again, 3 sets of 10. We should probably actually just do 3 AMRAPs here. So no 3 sets of 10, 3 AMRAPs for everything. So you're basically going to be doing 3 sets, as many reps as possible.
Yeah, and if you
then to finish off, we're going to be doing trap bar deadlifts, 3 sets of 10.
Yeah, and if you guys look at the entire workout across the week and you look at all the exercise selection, there's not that many exercises in there. That probably looks like a typical workout that me and Anthony might do in one day as far as the amount of exercise in there. But you guys got to realize that with this program, all those exercises are going to add muscle across the entire body. So we're using as little as possible to get the job done. And like we said earlier, with the main focus on losing body fat, this minimal amount of exercises will, pretty much fill in all the gaps in terms of building muscle in there. So you guys just got to milk those exercises we put in there and not focus so much on worrying about all the little details with the extra isolation movements, different angles, stuff like that. These movements, we're working the entire body from every angle, but we're using as little exercises as possible to get the job done.
Yeah, that was one of the turning points for me just in general with training. Yeah. I always thought that I needed to do, 1,000 different exercises for 1,000 different body parts. And it wasn't until I started actually doing less that I started getting more out of my training. So don't look at that old saying, quality over quantity.
Yeah.
Yeah, that saying is very, very true. So that is the routine. Then right after you finish that last day, you will have 2 days off, 2 days to rest. So it's plenty of time. Again, you have basically 4 days off with this program a week. You're only training 3 days. So I would recommend doing your cardio on the off days. So you're basically going to be working out 7 days or just maybe throwing one of them on so you have one off day. To me, it doesn't matter however you decide to do that, but that's what I would recommend. Now, any supplements that you would recommend taking, I would definitely recommend a scoop of caffeine pre-workout. That's probably the best pre-workout out there. It's all natural coffee. There's nothing in it but just coffee. And 10 grams of muscle-building protein there. So you get some amino acids right before you lift. So it's the best pre-workout ever. We always do 2 scoops of New York Muscle Radio branched amino acids intra-workout just to maintain the gains as we go through the workout and provide our body with fuel. And then we always recommend New York Muscle Radio whey protein as needed to fill macros. Protein is one of the best ways to get protein powder is one of the best ways to get protein in, so that's what we recommend there. But anything else as far as supplement goes with the Zac Efron program? I don't think there was anything else that I would specifically add to this. Apple cider vinegar might be one of those times where we add that in.
Yeah, that could definitely help because I always like to throw that in there in dieting phases, so that'll absolutely help. The HIIT cardio that you're going to be doing is really going to help you with your metabolic rate increasing. It's going to help you with the insulin sensitivity as well. And then that apple cider vinegar is kind of like the icing on the top. So that'll help you with that. If you use those supplements and combine with that workout program and you hit your macros, your physique is going to change dramatically. There's just no other way to say it, So if you guys stick it out, you will get those results. Again, there's no magic shake thrown in here or anything like that. The magic shake is the entire program we put together there for you guys. So if you follow that, you'll be good. You'll start losing body fat. you'll get stronger and you'll feel good. You know, I got to admit, talking about doing all the HIIT cardio, I got to start doing it myself. You know what I mean? I keep saying it, but I got to actually do it because I kind of miss
I told you to do it today, man. I told you, go push the sled. And you're like, no.
Well, because my back was killing me, so I was, I didn't want to hurt it any further by doing any high intensity stuff. But as far as, I got to be honest with you, there's a feeling of when you do high intensity cardio on a regular basis and your cardio is just so good, your training is always so much better. You know, as long as you're not doing too much where it's impacting your training to the point where, you're tired, you're beat up, and you can't hit it with enough energy. If you build up your cardio with high intensity intervals, there's no better performance enhancement in the gym with the weights that you can do than do high intensity cardio. It'll always make your workouts faster. You'll need less rest between sets, and you won't be as winded or beat up, and you could handle more workload. So I always enjoy that when I start dieting. That's kind of like the boost you get right out of the gate before you eventually get hit with the dieting, low energy and stuff like that. So it's good. I probably should be taking advantage of it soon.
Yeah. All right, man. Now that you went on your big rant. All right, guys. Well, this was the New York Muscle Radio's Celebrity Physique series, getting the guide to getting a body like Zac Efron in Baywatch. So if you guys are interested, head on over to newyorkmuscleradio.com/Zac Efron to pick up this free program. Everything that we just described for you guys, you'll get in a free program. Our gift to you for listening. Again, we're just trying to help as many people as possible. My goal was to get to help 1 million people. We're almost at that mark, so you guys got to help us get there. So that's the goal, get to 1 million people. But if you know anyone who is a fan of Zac Efron, who loves Zac Efron, please share this episode with them. And if we did provide you with any value in this episode, please leave us a 5-star review on iTunes or wherever you're listening to, as that helps the channel grow. Big Pete, man, your turn, buddy.
All right, guys, Pete and Anthony, New York Muscle Radio, and we're out.
Enjoyed this episode of New York Muscle Radio? Make sure to hit that subscribe button, leave us a 5-star review, and be sure to follow us on Facebook, New York Muscle Radio.